Shares in social media platform Reddit start trading on the New York Stock Exchange on Thursday in its initial public offering, or IPO. And if you're not familiar with Reddit, it hosts niche discussion groups or subreddits, around 100,000 of them, on everything from politics to pets, investing and hobbies. In the words of co-founder and boss Steve Huffman, Reddit topics range from the sublime to the ridiculous, the trivial to the existential, the comic to the serious. Around 73 million people use it every day. So what's it worth? Reddit has priced its shares at $34, giving it a stock market value of $6.4 billion at the start of trading. That could, of course, go up or down once shares start trading, but it is well below the $10 billion valuation given to Reddit by investors back in 2021. And to put all that in perspective, social media giant Meta, which owns Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp, was worth $1.2 trillion at the market close on Wednesday. Let's go live to Paul Condra. He's head of industry and technology research at PitchBook, which provides data on the global capital markets, and he's in Seattle. Paul, Reddit may not be as famous as Facebook, Instagram or X, but it has 1.2 billion subscribers and an oversubscribed public listing, so it's clearly a hot ticket. Is it scalable, though? Can it reach the heights of those bigger companies?
Well, yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. I think if you look at the daily active user count, it's much lower than some of those larger properties you mentioned, at about 73 million versus, up into the billions for a company like Meta. And I think it caters to a much more niche type of use case and the type of contributors and moderators that kind of want to run their subreddits the way they see fit, and they want to have more control over it. Whereas when you look at a Facebook or an Instagram, it's much more centrally managed. So it's a different kind of business model. And I think it draws people in slowly, but it also draws a lot of people in that maybe want to get information quickly and get out, because the kind of stickiness factors that exist in some of these larger platforms don't really exist in Reddit. So yeah, the opportunity really is, how much do they want to go down that road of trying to use some of the techniques and models that some of their larger counterparts are using to make the platform stickier, to make it a little more of an entertainment type of platform, bring users in, and try to monetize it a bit more effectively than they have in the past.
Exactly. I mean, Paul, you mentioned its business model and the fact that it needs to monetize. It doesn't make a profit. It hasn't made a profit. We've got a more competitive advertising market. It signed this $60 million reported deal with allowing its data for training Google's AI models. It's obviously got very valuable data from these discussions. But I mean, how is it going to raise the bottom line?
Yeah, I mean, the model was never really built to optimize advertising, right? It was built to provide a platform for creators and contributors and moderators, kind of a decentralized conversation space where people can be kind of have free reign on the things that they want to talk about. And now there's a bit of a pivot taking place for a company that wants to go public and wants to optimize that platform more effectively. They just raised a lot of money, so that means they've got some capital. Or they will have once this IPO is completed. They don't have any debt. And so they've got the ability now to invest in the resources to say, look, we've got the traffic, we've got the platform, but what we don't really have is an advertising machine that really is optimized and capitalizes on what we have there. So we can put the people and teams in place to start investing on that, and they probably can make progress. Are they going to be able to grow it faster or take a bigger share of the market from their bigger competitors? Probably not, but they can most likely turn that into a stronger business than what it is now. And then there's these secondary revenue streams that they've made some progress on, which is selling the data. And that's become obviously very important in the last couple of years with the rise of generative AI. And they have a pretty unique data set, a lot of IP on unique, valuable information across all these subreddits. It's already proven to be somewhat valuable to Google, who signed kind of a $60 million deal with them this year. That can be an interesting revenue stream, probably a much higher margin revenue stream. I think there's a lot of questions around how big that can be. But if we're just looking in the next couple of years, I think there's a lot of reasons this company can kind of put the pedal down in terms of generating more revenue and increasing the margin profile And those are enough things to get people, or at least get investors excited when you look at a valuation that's coming to the market that's not terribly expensive, to say, hey, this could be a good run for the next couple of years. It's probably not going to reach the scale of Meta, but could be a good solid business if they're able to execute on those plans.
Right. I guess they'll be watching out very closely for whether it affects the user experience at the same time. Paul Condra, thanks so much for joining us.